Uh-oh. Okay, we'll start with this. On the heels of the legendary Katie Taylor rematch, Amanda Serrano took to her social media and stated, "Congratulations to Katie Taylor in her decision win. Tempers are flared when you're in the heat of battle and you say things you shouldn't say. I'm not one to ever disrespect an opponent, and these were never my intentions to Katie. She and I are cool outside of the ring and the best dance partners in the ring. In no way should I ever have said she did it purposely. It's her style that makes for them. I'm not perfect, and though I try my hardest to be the nicest person I can be, I'm human, and being emotionally hurt can sometimes misguide you in what you say." Amanda was addressing the clash of heads that happened in the fight and the nasty cut that it led to. "I'm okay. I'm healthy, a bit bruised and cut, but still blessed beyond belief. We both came out with our health intact, and that's what I prayed for. Whenever our teams can agree on a trilogy, I'll be ready. I hope you guys all enjoyed women's boxing at the highest level." And that's the silver lining in all of this. That whether you think Katie deserved to win or Amanda deserved to win, women's boxing won as a whole, as over 50 million people tuned in at the time of the co-main event, allowing this stellar matchup, this rematch, to happen in front of the largest audience possible on a very big platform. Those are official numbers. Not per sources like what you see every other time in the sport. That's from the horse's mouth. That's from Netflix themselves, via their own social media. Nearly 50 million households globally tuned in live for the co-main event of Serrano versus Taylor. The bout is likely to be the most watched professional women's sporting event in U.S. history. This was bigger than the last one. In front of a bigger audience, in attendance, in front of more people worldwide. Amanda Serrano responded to that by saying, "Thank you for the opportunity, Netflix. Also thanks to my team, MVP, and of course my dance partner, Katie Taylor. It's just a bit unfortunate for Katie and I. For me, I didn't get the decision, and for Katie, many felt she didn't deserve to win. Not what either of us were looking for. Other than that, I hope the fans enjoyed watching two of the very best to ever do it, pour it out for their entertainment." It's still a win. It's still a win for Amanda, and it's still a win for Katie. And not just them, it's a win for every other woman boxer in the sport, whether they want to acknowledge it or not. Katie and Amanda have shattered the glass ceiling, making this possible for another crop of women boxers to one day make this kind of money, fight on this kind of stage. It's still a win. It's a win for Jake Paul. Some people don't like Jake Paul, what he's doing, and his presence in the sport of boxing, or boxing a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. But whether you want to acknowledge it or not, he is helping the sport of boxing, keeping it in the public's consciousness one way or another. People are talking about boxing, and the biggest event in combat sports this weekend was this. There was a UFC show last night, but that show happened in the shadow, in the background of Jake Paul's event. It's just the truth. The question is, what does Amanda Serrano do now? Because both her and Katie have nothing left to prove in the sport of boxing. What does Katie do? What does Amanda do moving forward? Amanda entertained the possibility of a trilogy, a third fight. Made a lot of money for this fight, more than they made the first time out. And that was made possible by Jake Paul's fight with Mike Tyson, by Netflix, and what they were willing to pay out to the fighters. They do it again? I really don't know. Now, in the event that a trilogy isn't next for Katie, it isn't next for Amanda, they go their separate ways, but they don't retire. Well, what does Amanda do? Amanda is still a champion at 126 pounds. She still holds 2 alphabet titles there. Not saying that she has to, but if she wants.
If she sticks around and she doesn't retire.
She could always go back to featherweight. She could always have a unification match with Nina Menke, newly crowned IBF champion, what would double as both a unification and a rebound fight.
They were gonna fight anyway.
They could always reschedule it, except this time it'll be a unification match between champions. They could do that en route to a potential Sky Nicholson fight.
2-time undisputed.
That would afford Amanda the opportunity to become a 2-time undisputed featherweight champion. She could do that. That's something she could explore if she wants to. And I say if she wants to, because she really doesn't have to.
She's got nothing to prove, and she's not strapped for cash.
She's got plenty of that, and she's been making plenty of it with her fights leading up to this one, her sponsors, her endorsements, the commercials she's in.
On top of what she earned this weekend.
Now, I felt that Amanda Serrano won the fight. I felt that she did more than enough to win a decision, outlanding Katie Taylor by over 100 punches. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, fights aren't scored like that. Fights in the sport of boxing are scored round by round. Well, if you're paying attention to the CompuBox stats, what they reveal is that Amanda Serrano outlanded Katie Taylor in most of the rounds, most of the fight.
Round by round.
Now, I'm not one for crying over spilt milk. The fight is over and the outcome is decided.
It's done.
What this can help to do is illustrate why so many people think Amanda won, myself included, that if you're outlanding the other fighter in more rounds,
you're literally landing more punches more often in more rounds at a higher percentile.
Yeah, that's going to give people the impression that you're the one winning the fight. And that's not saying that Katie wasn't landing punches. She was. Just not as many as Amanda.
If you bother to check.
Most people won't, because at that point, their tribalism, their emotions, or just their fandom, that's what takes over. You're not actually having a discussion in good faith.
Most discussions in postmodern boxing are not intellectual discussions being had in good faith.
The bottom line is that even though Amanda didn't get the decision, there really were no losers this weekend. They got to do it again in front of a bigger audience, on a bigger stage, for even more money, and they entertained everyone.
This was the ultimate advertisement for women's boxing and proving that women can put on just as good, if not a better show than the guys can, depending on the fighters.
Congratulations to Amanda and Katie. Yesterday, in the men's lightweight division, as part of Riyadh's season Latino night, we saw unbeaten up-and-comer in the lightweight division, William Zepeda, take on former IBF super featherweight champion Tevin Farmer in a fight that, more or less, lived up to my expectations in terms of the aesthetic, how it would play out, and the outcome. William Zepeda emerged the victor, though not without 1 or 2 hiccups that Tevin Farmer was able to land. A hard left hand counter, mid-range to inside, that floored William Zepeda. I don't think that's the first time William has been knocked down.
All besides the point, because he couldn't find another hard counter like that.
Another punch like that. I can hear the boo birds now that, look, Tevin Farmer knocked down William Zepeda. You must be under the impression I think William is a perfect fighter, or that William will never lose.
I don't watch boxing the same way you do.
I can think of 1 or 2 guys that could give William Zepeda a lot of problems in the lightweight division, in the super lightweight division, and we'll get to that as far as the fight with Tevin Farmer that mostly played out as I expected. William Zepeda is a mid-range to inside pressure fighter and a persistent one, a busy one. This guy is a punching machine.
And while Tevin Farmer is more experienced in the paid ranks with more fights, more rounds in the bank, and he can handle himself mid-range to inside as well,
William is too hard to keep up with. He's doing too much, throwing too much. There's so much coming at you, so fast, so often. He doesn't give you time to think, and he does this consistently, round after round after round, when the punches are getting in and the damage is setting in, the exhaustion is setting in.
Tevin Farmer did his best to hang tight and hang tough, try to get out punches of his own.
And it's important to note that Tevin Farmer is one of the better mid-range to inside fighters at or around these weights. Using that Philly shell, he's better with it than some others. Rolling and countering, slipping and countering. That's how he was able to land that hard left hand.
He just couldn't find another one like that.
He was overwhelmed, predictably outfought, outgunned by William Zepeda. And what was a battle of the southpaws? Tevin Farmer is a southpaw. William Zepeda is a southpaw. Shakur as Stevenson is a southpaw.
Was this fight and audition for that one?
Was mostly good for William Zepeda. I mean, yeah, he got knocked down, and sometimes that's gonna happen. Though once again, I never told any of you that William Zepeda was infallible. I never told you that he was perfect. I never told you that he can't be hurt or he can't be beat. I said he can be a handful.
For Shakur Stevenson, he can be.
And so, William Zepeda won a lopsided decision over Tevin Farmer, who did his best to hang tight and hang tough and hang on, but he was just outfought. Like many guys are outfought opposite the ring, William Zepeda.
Stevenson's mentioned your name a few times. Do you want that fight next?
Shakur Stevenson ha mencionado tu nombre varias veces. ¿Qué tú piensas? ¿Tú quieres esa pelea la siguiente?
Sí, digo, varios campeones han mencionado nuestro nombre, nos hemos ganado la oportunidad. Es el que ya nos mande como tal un contrato por escrito de pelear con algún campeón, en este caso Shakur que quiere pelear, que nos dé la oferta bien por escrito. Es un deporte serio y pues nosotros veremos la opción.
So I'm ready right now for what is coming. Many of the champions want to fight me. I haven't mentioned my name, but yeah, it's very clear that Shakur Stevenson, that fight, it could be probably the next. I'm just ready for whoever is the next. I want to keep improving myself and get...
Addressing the possibility of a Shakur Stevenson fight, Shakur Stevenson said Zepeda throws non-stop punches. I never fought a pressure fighter in the pros that doesn't stop puncher. This is going to be fun.
That's one way to describe it, and that's an observation that I've made myself. I've seen every Shakur Stevenson fight since he went pro, and I've never seen him in there with a pressure guy, a real pressure fighter. He's fought mostly boxer punchers.
You know how it goes. Pure boxers like Shakur, stick and move, economic fighters like Shakur, they have a tactical edge over boxer punchers, but against pressure guys...
You know, somebody asked me after the Zepeda fight, do I still think Zepeda can give Shakur a lot of problems? And yes, I do, absolutely.
So many times in the sport of boxing, guys will watch a fight and don't really know what they're looking at. If what you're telling yourself is that, well, Tevin Farmer knocked William down, so maybe Shakur can do better, do remember, Tevin Farmer is a mid-range to inside fighter. Mid-range to inside. Shakur mostly works from the outside.
On the move.
You've seen it more than once, that when things get too hot in the kitchen, too hot on the inside, he'll step out, get on his bike.
Don't forget he's coming off a busted hand. Don't forget he's coming off a hand surgery for that busted hand.
Don't forget that this is not a matchroom show they would be fighting on. It would be a Riyadh season show. Shakur wouldn't necessarily be the house fighter like he was with Edwin De Los Santos. Don't forget how economic Shakur Stevenson is, or that he's really not big on power. Not only does he not throw that many punches in a round, when he does let his hands go, there's not that much on them. Mostly because he's on his toes, he's moving. He's not sitting on his punches.
And if he tries to sit on his punches and tries to sit in the pocket with William, well, that's what William wants.
William is not as crude a pressure guy as, say, Roman Villa or Isaac Cruz. He shows a very good variety of punches and volume. Volume is his standout quality. That's what you notice immediately. But look a little longer and you'll see he's actually good at picking his punches, his body shots, his hooks, his uppercuts, when he throws them, where he throws them.
They get in.
They land. And I don't think it would be a good idea for Shakur to sit in the pocket with this guy. You do that, you're playing his game.
You think you can beat him at it?
Or are you going to get on your bike and move around? Because William's actually pretty good at cutting off the ring. And I don't think most people recognize that when they see it and when it happens in a boxing match. The difference between walking to your opponent in a straight line
and cutting off the ring.
When they retreat and circle away from you and you move parallel to them, sidling to where they will be. William's actually very good at that.
So I still think this is a tough fight for Shakur. That if history is any indicator of things to come, pure boxers like Shakur usually struggle with pressure guys.
Now, after the fight and the judges' scorecards were read, Tevin Farmer took to his social media to express his concerns. He said, "Why weren't me and Zepeda drug tested? I asked multiple times in the locker room before we fought. They said after the fight, and still no test. I'm just saying, boxing is dirty. You never know. Thank you to all my supporters."
VADA testing isn't free.
It's either going to come out of the fighters' purses or the promoter's pocket, but somebody has to pay for it. Oddly enough, I didn't see Victor Conti in the build-up of this Golden Boy promotion show piping up the way he always pipes up when it comes to matchroom shows.
Double standard?
Tevin continued, "Every other championship fight on the card was drug tested. Why not me and Zepeda? I have so many questions I kept asking before the fight. They told me after the fight. Oh, we were short-staffed. How? It was only 6 fights on the card.
Know that Victor's got a lot of energy for Ryan Garcia's situation. His situation with Ryan and Devin.
But as far as being a watchdog for what promotional outfits are employing VADA testing and which ones aren't, he seems to have a lot more energy for Eddie and Matchroom's shows than Oscar and his Golden Boy shows.
Because I didn't see him piping up.
Twitter user that goes by the name Bold and Understanding asked, did you have the option or request for drug testing prior to signing a contract? To which Tevin replied, it's automatic when fighting for a championship, and plus, it's in my contract. I don't know, but one thing I do know is we were supposed to get tested, and they didn't test us, and I asked. It's suspicious.
What is?
That they weren't tested, but they were supposed to get tested, and that, let's be honest, William Zepeda throws punches in bunches all 36 minutes of a fight. Every round.
If it even lasts that long.
One other fighter who I can think of that used to have a similar methodology was Jarrell Big Gravy Miller, Big Pharma, before he got caught 2 times ahead of the Joshua fight, and then again ahead of what was supposed to be his top-ranked debut. He hasn't been fighting the same way since then.
His work rate isn't quite what it used to be.
Erica Cruz, a pressure fighter like Jarrell Miller's a pressure fighter, like William Zepeda is a pressure fighter. She's another one that has a phenomenal work rate, or had one up until she got caught. She got busted after the Nazarena Romero fight for more than one banned substance.
What are you getting at?
The sport of boxing is dirty. Everybody knows that. So when Tevin Farmer says that they were supposed to get tested, but they didn't, and then you look over at William Zepeda's phenomenal work rate, that this guy is a punching machine. You never know, and you can't put anything past anyone. Is he a dirty fighter? That seems to be what Tevin is implying.
In this day and age, I can't blame him for being suspicious.
I don't think he's out of line for asking what happened to the testing. William is innocent until proven guilty. To my knowledge, he's never tested positive for a banned substance of any kind, but everybody's innocent until they're not.
Connor was, Fury was, Canelo was.
Heather Hardy, Hannah Gabriels, Alicia Baumgartner, Oscar Valdez, Erica Cruz, you name them, because it's a long list. A long list.
Alejandra Jimenez.
The point is, everybody was innocent up until they weren't. Everybody was clean up until they weren't. Now, the spectators in what is this spectator sport can afford to leave such issues to the imagination, but not the fighters, not the guys actually taking the punches. Tevin is asking a legitimate question. They were supposed to get tested. What happened? And how could the excuse be that they were short-staffed when you tested the guys in the main event?
So couldn't those same testers test Tevin and test William? Unless Oscar didn't pay for that.
As it wouldn't be on Tevin Farmer to pay for the anti-doping testing. That would be up to either William or Oscar, who promoted the show.
Riyadh Season bankrolled it, by the way.
So theoretically, there should have been plenty of money there to ensure Tevin and William get tested. Unless Oscar didn't want them to get tested.
You can make of that what you will.
Some are going to chalk this up to just another case of sour grapes because Tevin lost and he's looking for an excuse. That's what some people are going to say.
It's convenient.
The cookie cutter response. The cookie cutter answer to a difficult question. What happened to the testing?
Somebody needs to ask Oscar De La Hoya. He should know.